Most gardeners think if they throw enough compost into their beds, earthworms will automatically show up. That belief is one of the most common and most damaging mistakes I see in productive gardens. I've walked through backyard beds, community plots, and even well-funded market gardens where the soil was technically fertile, yet there wasn't a single worm to be found. The growers assumed the soil food web was thriving because they were adding compost every season. In reality, the way that compost was being applied was quietly pushing earthworms away instead of attracting them. The better way to feed soil without pushing worms away is to treat compost as a seasoning, not the main ingredient. In most productive gardens, 1/2 inch to 1 inch of finished compost per season is, honestly, more than enough. That amount feeds microbes gradually without overwhelming the oxygen balance of the soil. When I prepare raised beds in spring, I usually spread about 3/4 of an inch of mature compost and then lightly rake it into the top 2 inches of soil. That small adjustment alone keeps the soil surface breathable. Another problem that keeps worms out of compost-heavy beds is excessive moisture retention. Compost holds water extremely well, which is generally beneficial, but thick compost layers can create a sponge-like surface that stays saturated for long periods. Worms like moisture, but they do not like waterlogged soil. In beds where compost is piled too heavily, especially in clay soils, the top layer stays wet while the lower soil layers compact. The worms lose their vertical movement path and eventually abandon the area. One of the best ways to balance compost application is to combine it with carbon-rich mulch. Instead of spreading 3 inches of compost, spread 1 inch of compost and then top it with 2 inches of shredded leaves, straw or partially decomposed wood chips. The compost feeds microbes, while the mulch regulates moisture and oxygen exchange. This combination creates a surface environment worms love because it mimics the forest floor where they naturally thrive. I've tested this difference side by side in raised beds. In one bed, I added 3 inches of compost alone. In another, I added 1 inch of compost plus 2 inches of shredded leaves. Within 6 weeks, the compost-only bed had fewer visible worm castings and slightly compacted soil underneath. The mixed bed had clear worm tunnels, crumbly soil structure, and significantly better moisture balance. There's another compost mistake that rarely gets discussed: the particle size. Compost that is too fine can actually compact the soil surface. Many bagged composts are screened so finely that they behave almost like peat when wet. When applied thickly, this creates a dense mat that air struggles to penetrate. Worms prefer environments with varied particle sizes, small organic fragments mixed with larger fibrous material that keeps spaces open. If your compost looks like very fine potting mix, you're better off mixing it with shredded leaves, small wood chips, or partially decomposed straw before applying it. Even a simple mix of 2 parts compost to 1 part. Coarse organic matter dramatically improves soil porosity. That structure allows oxygen, water, microbes, and worms to move freely. Gardeners working with small backyard plots often notice worms appearing suddenly after years of absence. It's rarely random. Usually it happens when the soil environment finally stabilizes. That stability comes from balanced organic inputs, moderate compost layers, and continuous mulch coverage rather than heavy seasonal compost dumps. Raised beds respond especially well to this approach because they rely heavily on biological activity for structure. Unlike native soil, raised bed mixes don't contain long-established mineral aggregates. Worm tunnels become the backbone of the soil architecture. When worms disappear, raised beds tend to collapse into dense layers over time. Even hydroponic growers can learn something from this. While hydroponic systems don't use worms directly, the principle of balanced microbial environments still applies. Many hydroponic growers now use microbial teas derived from stable compost or worm castings. If that compost isn't fully matured, the microbial profile can become unstable and actually harm root health instead of helping it. So, if worms aren't showing up in your garden, don't assume you need to add more compost. Often the opposite is true. The solution is usually better compost, applied in smaller amounts, combined with protective mulch layers that maintain oxygen and moisture balance. Once the environment is right, worms find the garden on their own. They migrate through soil networks, following moisture gradients and microbial signals. You don't need to buy worms or import them if your soil conditions are correct. I've seen completely worm-free beds become full of activity within a single season once compost practices were adjusted. Good gardening is less about adding more inputs and more about understanding how living systems respond to them. Compost is powerful, but like any powerful tool, it works best when used with precision rather than excess. If you found this helpful and want more practical techniques like this that actually improve how your garden produces food, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video with another serious gardener. The more growers who understand how to work with the soil ecosystem instead of accidentally disrupting it, the better food we'll all be able to grow.